Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mental Iron. I'm Lesley Timbol, and today I'm going to talk about suicide. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is that this is the time of the year, not to say it doesn't happen other times of the year, the holidays. Now, we just had Thanksgiving, U.S. Thanksgiving. It's not uncommon for a lot of people to take their life or be considering taking their life around the holidays. Christmas is coming up too, so I wanted to make sure I touched upon this today. The reason this is such an important topic is I want people to understand understand what suicide is if you're at risk or if you know someone at risk, as well as to help someone if you think they might be suicidal. Now, obviously, there's a chat here, so if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. So I'm just going to start talking, but I will check the chat if anyone has any questions or wants to chime in. So I want to talk about some of the behaviors that can indicate that someone may be thinking about suicide. Now, again, let me reiterate that just because I mention some signs about something, in this case being suicidal behavior, does not mean that if they have this particular behavior, they're for sure suicidal. These are just warning signs, the potential warning signs. So I just want to give you a few. One is like changes in, let's say, sleeping or eating habits. Another is a loss of interest in activities they normally enjoy doing, such as if they go to the gym and all of a sudden you don't see them at the gym anymore. Pulling away from family and friends is a really big one for people who are thinking about taking their life, because what they're trying to do is distance themselves from people. They feel that a lot of people who want to take their lives, they want to distance themselves because they feel that they're being a burden to other people. So they're trying to create that space. Hey, Dave, nice to see you. Hey, Jonathan, my birthday's coming up. It's on December 13th. Jonathan, are you doing anything special for your birthday? December 13th is literally on the corner. And by the way, just so you know, Jonathan, your birthday is on the same day as the Amateur Olympia for women. And I'm going to be stepping on stage on your birthday. So that's pretty cool. So let me know if you have any plans for your birthday. So once again, feel free to bring up anything you want in the chat, but I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the suicidal piece. So some of the other interests, or some of the other symptoms of people who could be suicidal are they don't care about their personal appearance anymore. They're actually fixated on death and dying. Some of them will actually write notes, goodbye notes to loved ones. There could be some increased physical complaints such as stomach aches, headaches, extreme tiredness. There could be feelings of boredom, trouble concentrating. If you try to give them any compliments or any type of praise, they kind of resist that. They might even say, I want to kill myself. They may even give away some of their possessions, some of the things that they treasure, they'll give them away because if they're leaving this life, they don't need them anymore. So they're going to give them to others. They may make plans as far as preparing for their death. Most people have an idea of how they're going to end their lives. They have a plan. They've considered different types of plans and find one that they think that they can execute. They become very withdrawn. Like I said, they start to disengage from other people. They can be alcohol and drug use. What else? They can show despair. Now, there's different stages. Keep in mind, when people have suicidal thoughts, it's not that at the introduction of the thought, they automatically go to the plan and they execute it. This is over a period of time. So in the beginning stages, they might actually express that they're feeling that they're struggling with something. So feelings of despair, unsure, feeling of hopelessness about how to deal with certain kinds of things. There could be mood swings. Again, this is because they're unable to cope with certain kinds of things. They may express feeling depressed or anxious or sad, even angry, because they're feeling overwhelmed. And sometimes aggressiveness can come out. And again, this is in response to not being able to deal with a particular situation or person. They can act recklessly. So they might take some dangerous chances, like driving drunk or having risky sex. Now, if someone is threatening suicide, don't assume that they're just getting attention. Take that person seriously. Call 911. The other line that I would actually call over 911 is 988. 988 is the National Suicide Prevention Line. It gives people free support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where they can speak with a trained counselor right then and there. Now, if you can do it safely, take them to the nearest hospital and the emergency department. Try to keep that person calm on the way there. Contact family or friends for added support. Listen attentively to them, because they could be very talkative, and you want to engage them. You want to offer them support, obviously. Don't promise them confidentiality. If they said don't tell anyone, do not promise them that you won't tell anyone. Okay? Don't leave the person alone. Like I said, if you need to, call back up, whether it's family, friends. If you have to call 988, do so that they can actually speak to someone. Any kind of possible harmful objects, keep it out of their, keep them out of sight. Ask them direct questions. Are you thinking about hurting yourself right now? Because and one of the myths is that people are afraid that they're going to put the idea of suicide in the person's head. That's not the case. They've been thinking about it probably for months. Now, thank you, Dave, for that. The podcast on RX today. Yes, we were talking about, the holidays, and there was that particular personal trainer. And again, it's not just, I don't want to focus it just necessarily on the personal trainer, but he's just, he was an example because it just happened. It was unexpected. He had a family from people from the outside who knew him, didn't see it coming. Because he was a type of member of society that was well respected. He didn't seem like he had any issues, and then he ended up having a gun and put it to his head to kill himself. And unfortunately, he was successful. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to bring it to light. Again, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen other times of the year, but it gets really highlighted. So it's good for people who, even if you're not suicidal, be aware of other people around you that could be, and to get them the support they need. Now, oftentimes when people are at risk for suicide, it's because, there could be some mental health disorders already in the family. There could be addictions, whether it be alcohol or drugs. There could be a serious physical illness. Sometimes when people get diagnoses, they're like, I don't want to go through, let's say it's a long drawn out process, and it maybe involve a whole bunch of different types of therapy, and they don't want to go through that or put their family through that. So they want to take the shortcut and say, if I'm going to die anyway, let me go out my way. I'm not agreeing with that. I'm just giving you the rationale behind it. They could have a major loss. So let's say you lost your partner. A lot of times people who have passed, they want to join, if you believe in a heaven, they want to join their partner in heaven. So what they do is they fast forward their death by taking their life so they can join their partner. Again, I'm not saying this is a good thing. It's not, but I'm just giving you some rationale about who might be at risk for committing suicide. If they have serious legal or financial problems, again, killing yourself is an escape so they don't have to deal with that situation. There could be a history of trauma or abuse and they can't deal with it anymore. So again, there's a lot of valid reasons why people may want to do it, valid as far as it makes it understandable to do, but not valid in the respect of it warrants it. Let me be very specific about that. So basically you want to try to encourage them as much as possible to get professional help. Now, some of them might be saying, no, I'm okay. I don't need any help, because they could be in denial or they don't want to deal with it. leave them the number. Just make sure that they have the number just in case. Remind them that they can contact 988. Like I said, that's the National Suicide Prevention Line. I know a lot of people do 911, but 911 gets kind of bombarded, and it gets bombarded by a whole bunch of different types of calls. 988 is very specific to suicide. That's why, if anything, if you can, do the 988 number. So if someone's now keep in mind, there's a difference between attempts and people who are successful. So people who've actually attempted suicide were not successful for whatever reason, they might be also more likely to commit suicide, because if they figured, okay, I wasn't successful because I didn't do this, next time I'm going to make sure I do that, so I'm successful. Hopefully they don't do that. But again, I'm just talking about some risk factors. If you've had any family members who've committed suicide, or again, loss, that can be a big piece. But keep in mind that, a lot of times they feel helpless. They feel hopeless. They don't see any way out. And again, when you think about, well, can't they see that, or don't they see that it's such a selfish decision that, that when they leave, if they commit suicide, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people, and they're going to be torn apart. And you're thinking, well, why would that not prevent them from committing suicide? And that's because they're in that mental state of mind where they're thinking they're doing their family and friends a favor of removing their misery, because then the family and friends won't have to be exposed to the negativity that's in their life and how they feel. And they don't want to drag people down. That's the last thing they want to do. So again, I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I'm saying that's the rationale behind it. So once again, one of the biggest things you can do is don't leave them alone. Call 988, or if they can call 988, encourage that, but don't leave them alone. You want to be able to have them talk so they're distracted. Even if they're talking about killing themselves, try to get the topic on something else. They might want to gravitate back towards killing themselves, but try to distract them as much as possible. Now, I'm going to talk about some do's and don'ts. One is be direct. So talk openly, very matter of fact about, like I said, call them out on it. Are you thinking about killing yourself? Don't beat around the bush. Be willing to listen. Allow their expressions of feelings. Even if they say, I want to kill myself, try to avoid saying, don't do that. Okay? Because you want to hear them out. Like I said, you're buying time. And they need to be able to express their feelings. A lot of times, if you even get to them at that point, that's actually a crucial point, because a lot of times that's the first time they've actually spoken with someone about their feelings, because I hide it inside. It's inside their heart, inside their heads. So this could be the first opportunity they can express it. I'm not saying you pat them on the back for it. No, just hear them out. This is a part of consider it venting. Be non-judgmental. So don't debate whether, suicide is right or wrong in that moment in time, or whether their feelings are good or bad. Don't lecture on the value of life. I know that sounds counterproductive, but that's not what they want to hear, and you want to engage them. So if you say something that's the opposite of where their head's at, they're going to shut down. Now, you can get involved, like I said, become available, show interest and support. And now don't do the opposite. Don't dare them to do it. Don't say, okay, go ahead and commit suicide. Please don't do that. And don't act shocked as much as possible. Try to keep it inside. I mean, you can be shocked on the inside, but on the outside, try to stay calm. They pick up on your emotions quite a bit. Again, don't get sworn to secrecy. If they say, don't tell anyone, say, I can't do that, but let's talk. It sounds like you have a lot to say, and I'm here to listen to you. And that's why you're giving them support. Remove any means that you can see. So if there's pills, if they want to kill themselves with pills, remove the pills. If there's a gun, try to remove the gun. If there's a knife, you try to remove the knife. If they have the keys to the car because they're going to crash the car, remove the keys from the car. Whatever you can do, take action. And get help from people or agencies specializing in crisis intervention. So that's why I'm saying call 988 as much as possible. A big piece is listening to them. A lot of times they feel like, and keep in mind, a lot of times when they feel the feelings they have, even before the suicide, the anger, the sadness, the loneliness, it's because they feel like no one cares. No one really cares, or they haven't validated their feelings. This is their first opportunity, and this can, again, help diminish the intensity of the desire to commit suicide if you're able to listen. So that's really important. So being physically present and listening to them. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it can do wonders. Again, you want to try to keep them safe by removing any dangerous objects. The other piece is helping them connect with ongoing support. Now, you may not have the ongoing supports, but again, the 988 will. So it's also not a bad idea that even when you get through this process, and if they were able to connect with someone, it wouldn't be a bad idea to follow up with them the next day. So give them like 24 hours and follow up and say, hey, you know what? A lot happened yesterday. I just wanted to check in on you. Can I come and come over and see you? Again, connect with them. You want to let them know that they're not alone, because that's the thing. A lot of times people feel like they're alone, even though they can have tons of supports around them, they feel alone. So feel free to reach out. Even though you've told them probably thousands of times, I'm here for you. It's important to be proactive and remind them of that in those moments. So those are some quick tips. So if you don't remember a lot of that stuff, when in doubt, connect them with 988. If you can remember nothing else from this conversation, but connect them with 988. So certainly if you have any other questions, I'm happy to address them. I just wanted to give you a bird's eye view of what are some of the signs if someone is thinking about committing suicide, as well as what you can do if you come across someone who is suicidal. So if there's any other questions, please put them in the chat. Also, because this is a Q&A, question and answer, we don't have to talk about just suicide. If you want to talk about other things, we can. Dave and I touched upon quickly about holiday spending. I know that's slightly different than suicide, but there's actually different types of, so I say holiday spending because there was just the Good Friday, today's Cyber Monday. So I don't know if you guys have taken advantage of any of the sales, but I know I did. I ordered some stuff. And what did I get? I got some stuff from Mutant. One of the things I got was this cool Mutant High. I got some BCAs, EAAs, and I got some more stuff coming up. But actually, I can keep my hat on. I just got this today. What do you think? Am I a mutant girl? I'm a mutant girl. I think I'm a mutant. I'm a mental mutant. I'm the mental mutant. So this is my hat for today. You can't even see me. Actually, can't see with them. All right. Actually, you can't see my face. Anyway, actually, I kind of like this anyway. All right. So I'm the mental mutant. If you guys had a chance to check out any of the sales, now here's the thing. There's a balance between taking advantage of the sales and having what we call a shopping addiction. Now I'm going to do a video, probably I'll post it on Friday, about, people who are, I'll call them holiday shopping addicts. That does not mean that everyone who buys something on sale is a shopping addict. Okay, it's when people, let's say, can't live without their credit cards. There are different types of shopping addicts. So I'll give you a couple examples. I'll go into more detail on Friday. But there are people who will, we call them bulimic shoppers. And what I mean by that is they buy stuff they don't need, and then they return it. And then they buy more stuff that they don't need and return it. So it's a buy, return. And they buy it. Why? Because it's on sale. If it's on sale, you have to buy it, whether you need it or not. Now, I'm not saying you guys fit in that. I'm saying that's one category of those. Again, taking advantage of certain sales does not mean you're necessarily a shopping addict. If you're also, remember, keeping within your financial means, that's good too. I know I have to have a budget, especially when I do the Olympia, especially when I do the Olympia Expo, because there's going to be a lot of cool stuff at the Olympia Expo, and I'll be checking that out. So I have to go in with a budget, not go beyond the budget, and stay on track. So that's the goal. So we'll see how I do on that. So did you guys do any kind of spending on Black Friday, the Saturday, Sunday, the Cyber Monday sales? And if you did, were you able to did you go a little bit crazy, or were you able to keep the spending somewhat on track? I'd love to hear your input on that. All right, so let me just check out hey, Surf and Turf. Okay, I can't believe you're doing these type of videos for us. It's like free. Hey, you're welcome, Surf and Turf. Yeah, you know what? I do a lot of this stuff. It's just I haven't got my name. I'm horrible at marketing. So if you guys this is why I'm saying if you guys can give my videos a thumbs up or tell people to subscribe, because it is free therapy. It really is. But I just don't know how to advertise it really well because I'm a horrible advertiser. But if you guys can give it a thumbs up, just to, again, the algorithm, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but that's cool. To get people more, I want people to get exposure to this. This is not about me. This is about getting content where I think that a lot of people can find it helpful. And I understand there's tons of podcasts out there. I mean, I listen to them all the time. It's hard for me to actually keep up. But when I'm doing cardio, I'm always listening to a podcast, always. When I'm doing dishes, I'm always listening to a podcast. So, I mean, even if you're listening to me when you're doing dishes or you're doing your cardio or whatever, if you find little pockets of time, I try to keep my videos fairly short. I used to have longer ones, but they're too long. So, the question and answer are probably the longest videos I do, just because I'm interacting, I'm answering questions. But the videos I do on Fridays, I release a video every Friday on my Mental Iron channel, and check them out. As far as, just little tidbits of information that you might find helpful. And once again, if you guys have ideas for future videos, I'm certainly open to that. Just, put them in the chat. Now, I do get sometimes some people are embarrassed to put their questions attached to their name or their screen name in the responses below. So just send me on my Instagram, just DM me. So my Instagram handle is Lesley T_mental_iron, and I won't use your name. I'll just say, hey, this is one of the questions that was asked, and I just answer it. So again, if you're live and you're here and you have a question, I'm happy to answer it. It doesn't have to do with suicide. It doesn't have to do with shopping. I just have a topic to go with to start us off, and then we can go on whatever tangent if you want. You want to talk about the Olympia, we can talk about the Olympia. If you want to talk about your top 6, we can talk about your top 6. But I'm here to kind of address any kind of questions you have. If you can join live, great. If you can't, I understand. Like I said, just post the stuff below, and I will answer the responses below later. Okay, so what else is on here? And I'm glad you guys like the show on RX. Looks great on you. Easily put 5 pounds of lean muscle. Yeah, that would be nice if that could happen, Dave. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that the hat looks good. I remember seeing Eric, the trainer, on TV years ago. He was very happy, upbeat, positive, kind of like Robin Williams, I guess. Yeah, you know what? Robin Williams is another one, like I was mentioning on the RX channel, that there's a lot of comedians that, are really torn. And again, it's not just comedians, but a lot of times when we look at people, we're thinking, oh, they seem like really happy people. They're very positive. They help out a lot of people. Why would they even consider, killing themselves? Because it seems like from the outside, they have it all and they seem happy. And that's the thing. A lot of times people put all this pressure on themselves, and it's whether it's the fear of people seeing them who they think they really are. And they're really nice people, but they have these negative impressions of themselves. And a lot of it has to do with low self-esteem. Now, why do they have low self-esteem if they're successful? We carry a lot of negative messages, and that starts when we're little, like when we're kids. Sometimes we had some negative messages, whether it's from our upbringing, whether it was on the schoolyard or in the bus. There's always someone that was in our lives that didn't give us positive feedback, where it's very cruel. There's different types of abuse. There's physical abuse, there's verbal, there's emotional, there's mental abuse. And oftentimes, not to say that physical abuse isn't bad, it is bad, but the scars, the mental scars, are much deeper with emotional abuse than the physical abuse. Usually the physical abuse, eventually the scars heal. Still very awful when people are physically abused, don't get me wrong. But yeah, a lot of times people have this negative messaging, and it's like a mental scar in their heads as far as what they feel that their worth is. Now, again, I'm not saying other people don't see their worth, but they don't see themselves as worthy. Okay, so again, if you guys have further questions, feel free to ask. Okay, Surf and Turf, Rami first. Yeah, he looks like Surf and Turf. Yeah, Rami looks like he's going to be first, doesn't he? My only concern with Rami is that because he's never been, like, he looks better now than he did. What year are we? 2020? 2021, he was at prejudging. He wasn't looking very good. He did better at finals, but I thought his look from not last year, but the year before. So in 2020, I thought his look was better than it was last year. Now he's looking better now, like today, than he did 2 years ago. So that's looking, it's amazing. My only concern is because he's not used to it. He might crumble as he gets closer to the date. So basically the week leading up to the show, when there's extra pressure, I'm hoping he stays away from social media so he can just stay focused on what he needs to do. Because we all know that you can do all the right things. I put right in air quotes. You can do all the right things, but if you have stress, you can hold on to water and a lot of things can go wrong. So I'm hoping he can, I'm happy for him he's at this place, but it's not a for sure. He could go off if he lets the stress get to him, and hopefully he won't. But we are talking about the biggest show in the world, the Olympia. Like this is the stakes are high. If anything, he needs a mental game coach because, like myself, so I'm tooting myself my own horn, but I know Dennis James is helping him, and I think that's really important. I think that's made a big difference. But I think, I don't know if, I think, I have a lot of respect for Dennis James, but I don't know if he's properly trained in every area. And if he'll be able to give him the support he needs in certain kinds of situations. He might, and that's great. And I hope he does, because I want Rami to do really well. But we'll see. We'll see if Rami holds on to it. And then here's the other thing. Who's going to be number 2, 3, 4? Like that, this lineup is crazy, just absolutely crazy. So if you guys want to let me know who your number 2, 3, I would love to know your top 6. And again, it can change. I think my top 6 changes, I think, like every day. But, let me ask you guys, who's your number 2? If Rami's your number 1, who's your number 2? Yeah, it's going to be a super deep surf and turf. It's going to be super deep. And I think, what was it? It's like a little over 30. Is it? I want to say 32, 33. I'm not 100% now. But there's a lot of guys in the open that are competing. Like some aren't competing, like Regan Grimes and who else is not competing? Is it Sergio? He's not competing. I mean, hopefully they'll be competing next year. But still, there's a lot of guys. Yeah, Brandon, look. Yeah, Brandon. Hey, Smeg, how you doing? Yeah, Brandon, Brandon is looking really good. He's looking really good. I saw some pictures of him. And then Bonac. We can't forget Bonac. He's dense. He's so complete. He's so dense. You can't it's tough. And the thing is that Hottie, he came early. He's training early with Hani, and he's never been in the States this early. So it'd be really interesting to see what he brings. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting who the top 6 are going to be. I think it's going to be really challenging. So you're saying, okay, so surf and turf, you're saying Rami first, Brandon second. Smeg, you're saying the opposite. You're saying Brandon first and Rami second. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, Bonut third, then Hottie, Hunter, and Nick. Yes, Hunter is actually looking good too. Now, here's the thing. Hunter and Nick are really, it's going to be, yeah, Hottie's really good. I thought Hottie should have won actually a few years ago, to be honest with you. Hunter and Nick, it's tough because Hunter has a better shape. Nick, freak, no question. And he's got his stomach in. And I saw him at the Dragon's Lair a few weeks ago, and he looks so good, man. Like he's full, he's already really conditioned. Now, my understanding also, though, from Hunter, I mean, he's been working with, oh shoot, what's the guy's name? He's on Bro Chat. Crap, what's his name? He's such a good guy. Oh, help me out here. Who's helping Hunter? I can picture his face. He's got a son named Phoenix. What is his name? I can't remember. I can't believe this. Okay, help me out, guys. Who's Hunter's coach? Who's helping out Hunter? You're right, Smeg, a lot can happen in a short amount of time. And Samson, oh my gosh, Andrew and Ian. Okay, Samson is looking crazy. And I'll tell you this. I don't think that Samson will win this year, even though he looks amazing. But I do think he's going to win. I would say give him a couple years, either next year or the year after. I could see him winning. I could definitely see him winning. And then Andrew Jacked, like I see him at the Dragon's Lair here and there. He has such a great shape. He puts on muscle, and he just started not long ago, guys. Do I see him as a Mr. Olympia one day? Sure I do. What Andrew needs to work on is a bit more muscle maturity, a little bit on his back and his posing. He gets that in, and obviously the conditioning. He is a genuine threat. Like, great, such a blessed frame, and he's such a nice guy. He and Samson are so like down to earth. It's amazing. I love these guys. His shape is unreal. And then Ian's looking bigger too. Like Ian's really kicked, like really elevated, the amount of work he's doing. I do think that someone like Hunter might beat Ian just because of shape, even though, there's a lot of muscle. Again, it depends on the conditioning. So we'll see. Oh, Ben Chow. This is who I'm thinking of for Hunter, Ben Chow. And Ben's been able to help Ian, or sorry, not Ian. Ben's been able to help Ben's been able to help Hunter quite a bit, and it seems to be from some of the pictures I've seen of Hunter, it seems to be working. Yeah, his shape is unreal, surf and turf. Andrew, yes. Next year, yep, Samson could place in the top 3. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. The amount of muscle he's got is just crazy. Have you seen his back shots? Samson is just crazy. Yeah, it's going to be a great show. I'm going to have to get the live. I didn't get tickets in time, and so I'm probably going to watch the live stream. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. Ben Chow was Luke Sandoz, but yes, yeah, he was. I think that's actually how Ben, from my understanding, that's how Ben and Fuad actually connected. It's because when Luke was on the show with Fuad, and then after, Luke passed, and that was another huge, loss for the bodybuilding community. I wish I knew Luke. Believe me, I wish I worked with him. But when Luke passed, I know Ben and Fuad did have a lot more conversations. And I think actually Luke kind of brought those two together. And now they're really good friends. Same thing with why am I going? I'm sorry, guys. I'm really low on carbs right now, so my brain isn't thinking. The UK bodybuilder. Oh my gosh. Why cannot? Big guy, Beard. He did this. Oh my, James Hollingshead. He was a good friend of Luke too, and I think because of Luke's passing, they were able to have a really good friendship, and they still have to this day. From Ben, James, and Fuad. And by the way, I like Fuad's channel. It's really cool. It's hilarious, actually, sometimes. Yeah, James Hollingshead. Yeah. Yeah, they're a really good group, actually. So is there anything that you guys want to talk about specifically, or any questions that I can answer? Put them in the chat. Now's the time. And before I forget, we're going to do one more iron therapy. We'll do one more iron therapy show next week. And I don't know if it's going to be live or not, but we're going to do one more iron therapy before the Olympia. And then the week of the Olympia, we're going to take that off because there's going to be so much Olympia coverage that's just going to be focused on the Olympia. So we'll skip iron therapy that week, and probably this month mental iron, because I do this mental iron channel on Mondays, and Monday's going to be on the 12th, the week of the Olympia, and that's the day before I step on stage, and I'll be getting ready with my tanning, the athlete meeting, a lot of stuff is going on, so I'll probably miss that week, but I will have next week mental iron. So next week will be the last week until after the Olympia for the iron therapy and mental iron. So just give you guys a heads up on that. The brain fog is strong with the low carb. Yes. Yeah. Smeg, I love the IT. I'm glad you like it. Yeah. I'm glad you like the iron therapy. It's we tried, and if you guys have topics, feel free. We're going to probably do the topic of post-show blues next week. So, and this is going to help, hopefully, a lot of the athletes competing in the Olympia, to help them prepare yes, you have to prepare for the show, but it's almost like you have to prepare for what's going to happen after the show as well. And that includes like reverse dieting, your mental game, because a lot of times people will go into this crash, if you will, this mental crash of, after, the Olympia, they're going to enjoy themselves as they should. But then they do the comparison that they don't look the same as they did on show day. Well, you can't expect to, but our minds are very powerful things. And we do a lot of negative self-talk. And again, that's where the post-show blues can come in. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that next week. And again, if you guys have, we can talk about it further also on mental iron too, because I think that's a really important topic. No questions, just enjoying your input tonight. Okay, thanks, Surf and Turf. And thanks for joining, by the way. I really appreciate it. Super Jen, thanks for your content, Liz. Thank you so much, Super Jen. I appreciate that. Iron therapy is great. You and Dave are awesome together. It's cool. Y'all do for us. Yeah. I'm glad you enjoy it, because that's the whole idea. I mean, we're not doing it just, to hear ourselves talk. We want to make sure we give you guys some content that you find beneficial, or maybe if you know anyone who could find it beneficial, send them the link. Like I said, give me a thumbs up so we can boost in the algorithm so other people can hear this content. Because sometimes the way that the iron therapy works, it's a short, it's only, I think, I don't time it. I think it's about 25, 30 minutes. It's a short show. So there's a lot of times I can't say some of the stuff I want to, in which case I put it into mental iron. So like the suicidal characteristics, or what to watch out for, I didn't get a chance to really talk about that too much on iron therapy. So I did it on mental iron. So again, if you guys can give it a thumbs up, and anyone who's interested in the topic of suicide can actually watch this, if it gets boosted in the algorithm, then that might be able to help them. Because it also has I also included some tips that people can use if they know of someone who is suicidal. Okay, so, okay. Oh, okay. You know what? I didn't see. Okay, so Smeg, you were saying the Netflix show Killer Jane. I've only heard people talk about it. I haven't seen it. I don't have Netflix. I know I could get it. All my money is going towards the Olympia right now. So I don't watch. I know this sounds really weird, but I don't watch TV. The only thing I watch are podcasts. Yes, I'm a bodybuilding nerd. That's the only thing I watch right now is bodybuilding stuff. But no, I've heard about it. I think it was about someone. I don't know if there were two bodybuilders, but one was basically, I think the wife blew up. She was abused or something. I can't remember the details, but I don't know enough about it. If I watched it, then I can articulate a little bit more and look at it more clinically. But I can't, unfortunately, because I didn't watch the whole thing. I can't really, again, I only know little bits and pieces, so it would be very fragmented. Surf and turf. Nobody else has this content in the bodybuilding world. I don't have Netflix either. Okay. And that's why I want to do this because, whether we're I mean, I'm a bodybuilder, but this can apply to so many different types of situations, not just, it could be other sports, other athletes, but even just regular people. They don't have to be athletes. I feel that this content can be helpful because a lot of times we hear, how the mental, like there's a physical component to bodybuilding, obviously, or any sport. But honestly, it's the mental piece that can be more detrimental than anything. And then people will talk about it on podcasts, but they don't talk about it, or they don't have the expertise to talk about it to the degree that Dave and I do. That's why we do the iron therapy, and that's why I do mental iron. So, I guess I'm unique in that respect. But I just want to get the word out there so more people can know I exist and this content exists. That's what's more important. So if you guys can spread the word, that's awesome. But that's it, I guess, for today. But if you guys, like I said, have ideas for future topics for videos, if you have questions, like I said, put them down here. I'll either answer them down below or I'll answer them in the next Q&A. And that will be next week, Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 o'clock Vegas time. And so have a great rest of your week, guys. And thank you for joining me. And remember to keep your mental game on. Have a great day. Bye for now.